Before we got started, it was in the mid 20s to 30%. Then we brought it up to about 90 days to about 50.3%. And then we brought it up to 73.81%, the last 30 days. And that's just incredibly important, because I think a mistake a lot of companies will make is saying, I need more leads. When a lot of times that's not necessarily the problem. Right? You have enough leads. What are we doing with those leads? Ready means making sure we're taking care of every lead that comes through the channels, so that we can make sure to give them the best experience possible, so that they want to do business with us.
One of our biggest black eyes in particular was following up with on unsold estimate. It's not just, I'll call them once and leave a voicemail. Had a guy, last week, and I think we got to the 5th day in the text cycle, day 5. And he finally responds and he says, I'm going to call you after work. He's having a $17,000 system installed this week. From May of last year through May of this year, we had a 59-to-1 ROI. We brought in close to $600,000 in additional revenue. And that is literally an automated text message going out. And the manual labor that is required of me to actually close those is very minimal. That's what we're all about, is like increasing efficiencies.
And we went back to customers we worked for that we hadn't been out to in like 2 years. And we did a St. Patrick's Day tune-up campaign. We booked 700 tune-up appointments through that campaign. It's 700 appointments. And it's a lot, but we needed it at that time. And that cost us nothing but our time, because we already had that cost of our Hatch platform already built up. Mm-hmm. There are so many technology platforms you can invest money in these days. So many of them you don't necessarily need right away, but a system for nurturing and speed to leads similar to Hatch, great. I don't care what size you are, you cannot operate your business. If you're serious about growth, or even in this environment, maintaining where you are, you can't do it without this type of a platform. It's how you treat your leads. You have to answer the leads quickly. You have to, once you do a proposal, you're following up on it. You're mining your own customer database, and then going back and making sure that you're seeing all of those opportunities that come your way all the way through to the end. Average cost for a lead is about, for a customer acquisition cost, about $300 to $400. You already paid for them. You've done the heavy lifting. Don't let them go. And that's where, shameless plug for Chris's company. All those other technology things you maybe don't have to do, but something like Hatch is something you absolutely need to do. Follow up on those leads and use as many tools as you can to help you automate it and take the human capital out of it as much as you can.
It's user-friendly. It's convenient. It's automated. And the AIs, like once you get the AI set, the AIs really do all the work for you. It gathers the email address, the phone number, confirming that the customer is the homeowner. Like these are all things we need to know. And it just takes the relief off of my call center to then just say, okay, I have this date and time available. I mean, it's amazing. The things that it can say, I just think it's a great tool, and I can't imagine not having it.
Their closing percentages actually have gone up since we've used Hatch. I know it's over 5%. I know it was probably pushing around 10% when we first started kind of tracking it.
I was looking for automations for when leads hit the funnel. I wanted a kind of a centralized lead center. And so I wanted the automations for every single lead that hits on every single different platform that we have. I wanted it in kind of like a lead dashboard that I could control. And that's what Hatch allowed us to do. And I found that if my sales reps that are out in the field, they miss, like on a weekend or late night, they miss a contact from a customer, or if it's just a silly generic question, I'm like, there's got to be a way for AI to pick up that conversation so that it almost creates a seamless experience. And so if there's a particularly hot lead that's engaging, they're going back and forth, and he wants to then step in and take over from where the AI is having a conversation, he's able to do so without feeling the need to be like constantly on his device. So for me as a sales leader, I know the job's getting done, but I also know that I'm not a cruel taskmaster to my sales guys and expecting them to be available round the clock. It's almost like a safety net, because the worst thing that I would want our customers to experience is they send in an inquiry or they have a question and they feel like it's falling on deaf ears. They're going to more than likely search that answer out through a competitor of ours. And we're in this phase of instant gratification where I got to have it and I got to have it now and I got to cross it off my list. And if you can make it so easy for them to choose you, so easy for them to get the answer from you, then you have a much better chance possibility of retaining them as a customer or securing them as a customer. I've prompted the AI with a lot of our information and a lot of the rules that we've set up so that the guys can really focus on the opportunities to actually sell directly instead of having to wade through all the different messaging that comes through. So there's that. We've, like a triage effect, if you will. Where do I spend my attention where it makes the most impact? as opposed to having long drawn out conversations that may not yield a transaction in this particular instance. Well, I can rest easy knowing every single sale opportunity is followed up with. Hatch has helped us close more jobs than had we not had the tool, because we have directly closed jobs through Hatch and through the automations and the AI conversations. We've closed jobs that we've gone and ran estimates for that we may not have followed up on, right? Resuscitated customers out of the nurture campaign, right? A few here and there.
It is really essential for our after hours and our off hours. We're getting that retention of customers that they're messaging at 9 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning that we maybe weren't normally getting. So the bot will keep the conversation going from 4 or 5 a.m. until someone's able to take that over, maybe at 8 or 9 o'clock, and then we carry it through to booking. So it's, helping us secure and save those leads. Especially my main speed's a lead guy. He loves Yelp. That's his like lead, Yelp and Angie's. He always wants those, and he likes he's like, no, I want to get in it. I want on it fast. But then he'd go on break or he'd take lunch and he'd be gone for, 10 minutes to 30-minute lunch. And that customer could message back. And previously he might have lost that. And he'd come back and be like, oh man, like they messaged back while I was on lunch and now I called them and they already booked somewhere else. And he's already seeing that like Hatch is helping to secure that, and the work that he's putting in doesn't get lost when he goes on his break, or if he clocks out for the day and he comes back in the morning and it secures it for him. So our team is loving it. They really like that any work that goes into trying to secure a lead and securing that booking doesn't get lost when we aren't available. Sometimes it takes a week to get in touch with a customer, and then they're messaging back and we weren't available at that exact moment to respond to their text or their call that we've been trying to get for a week, and you lose it and it takes another week to get in touch with them. So the bots will jump in and grab that for us and keep the conversation going, get through a lot of those redundant, frequently asked questions, gets name, contact info, gist of what the service call is, and up to the scheduling. And then we can jump in from there. Since we started using Hatch specifically for like Angie's ads, our booking rate has gone up about 14%. Our Thumbtack booking rate also went up by 10%. The sales follow-up campaign is, those numbers are great. It's showing 196 sales that are being attributed with Hatch. Definitely the amount of time it saves across the board, from everything from leads to missed calls and estimates. We've seen not only just the booking percentage increasing, but also our overall quantity increasing, because we're just having more time to
do the right thing.
More and exactly
Yeah.
make more, I call them money moves. And so we focus more on our money moves and are able to do those things than having to go through a list of 400 missed calls that we're manually reaching out to. We can get alerted right away. Hey, this customer is engaged with you. They're wanting to schedule, they're wanting to approve an estimate. And then those are the customers we're really able to hone in and focus on. Because Sunday is our day that we don't have any office, any coverage, no call takers, anything on Sundays. And I will say on Monday, it is so much nicer to come in, and our booking tab, we have 20, sometimes 30 that are in the bookings tab for us to reach back out to on Monday than coming into just missed calls and unresponded. Yeah. So we are seeing a lot, probably at least double what we were previously getting booked over from that weekend. We're very happy with the use in Hatch. We're actually seeing improvement in our numbers, where some of the other platforms we used, we were actually kind of seeing go the other way. It was causing more complaints and decrease in our results. So Hatch is definitely working for the better.
Love to hear that.
We saw our conversion rates go up because we were reaching out to these folks immediately. It just makes the whole customer experience that much better. Year to date now, since the implementation of Hatch, we're at 86%.
This line of business is very important when there's 10,000 roofers around. If they reach out to you that quickly, time is of the essence for us to get them and have contact, just to even have a conversation. It's very important. I like the real time, like getting them as fast as I can, versus sometimes you have to call customers 2 or 3 times before you can reach somebody, even through email as well. You never can seem to catch them, but with a text, they got their phone. So quite a few people will correspond directly to the text, which is great because it makes it quite easy to reach out and schedule appointments and answer questions.
Anecdotally, it looks like I'm bringing in better quality leads, right?
Yep.
So, and when you have a sales force that goes out with the expectation of having a quality lead, their mindset's a little bit different, right? So when I can put them in front of a customer with a genuine interest, they're not kicking tires, they expected our phone call, we followed up quickly, the salesperson follows up quickly, it makes for a better customer experience as well. We also were very successful in our nurturing program, where those folks who were not ready to make a decision today, to keep in touch with them over the course of time. So when they were ready, they came back to us. I wouldn't say that we weren't doing any of it, but it certainly wasn't structured. It was very ad hoc.
Yep.
So, but this helped us put some structure around that process that works.
That's great.
And it's trackable, right? So we
Yep.
know who's being contacted with what at all times. We've also had an awful lot of success upselling our current customer base, just on a periodic basis, touching base with them with an email or a text saying, hey, we're here. We hope all is well. Don't forget, we offer these other services. And that has helped us generate a significant amount of revenue. I have 26 different lead sources. We do a lot of marketing and advertising. And over the last 2.5 years, we've done an awful lot of work to expand our brand. Our leads and jobs have just gone like this. That whole lead and appointment process has become more organized, right? It helps us keep track of who we've contacted when, and it helps, especially with our current customers, it's helped keep us top of mind when they do have another project. And the software is certainly scalable. It's helped us live up to our vision, mission, and values, which is all around providing a great customer experience.
And in fact, in a lot of cases, there's the inverse where we buy more leads and we're going to see fewer sets and fewer sales. It opened up the discussion for my owners that, hey, lead volume probably shouldn't be the only play here. The play should really be in nurturing the relationship along the customer journey. So Rachel intercepts the inbound lead that we get from, I don't know, we have 10 to a dozen paid lead sources at any given time. And based on a script that we set up for her, kind of at the preliminary, I'd call this the disclosure conversation that we would have with the customer, kind of get the bare basics down. She does those, she kind of prompts them for those types of questions like, hi, I'm Rachel from Bath Solutions. Thank you for your outreach. Can you please tell me what zip code you're in so that we qualify them as in our sales territory? What kind of project are you looking for? And she knows which services or scope of services we don't provide and what we do provide so that she can proceed with the conversation. So essentially, she's going through the pre-qualification to where it can then pass off to a call center person for the scheduling or the setting of appointment. They feel a lot better about managing the communications with customers now that Rachel or our bot has taken over that responsibility. They know that every single one of those leads that come in are going to be addressed in the first couple of minutes, and that's going to take them down the path with the bot. And then if there's a bailout where a rep has to take over, then yes. So we're able to maintain those conversations much better than had we just left it to a human being doing it. One, you're not going to have to worry about intercepting every single message that comes through Hatch and crafting your own message. Two, over time, as we train it, we have the data, we're hoping that this is going to increase our set volume or increase our engagement. But in no means is this a replacement. This is a way of being efficient with our resources and taking certain burdens off you. Yeah, they love it. The call center manager said, even right out of the gate within the first 20 days was, God, I love Rachel. This is great because the lion's share of the volume that's coming through from a customer and speech lead is being taken care of. Are there times that I have to, inject myself? Yes, of course. But it's really decreased the volume to which she has to pay attention to electronic customer communications. Yep. And that was a goal of this, right? So yeah, and that's a huge time suck of the first conversation that you're going to have with a customer is going through all of those kind of perfunctory questions to kind of screen them and assess the value of the lead. And with that being done for us, we can really focus on the value proposition. I'm not worried now about unanswered customer communications through text or email. I know that they're going to be addressed and eventually filtered to where it needs to be taken care of. Because I'm so excited about this technology and what I'm learning, and that is a customer relationship tool that I've never seen before, and it is a game changer for us. Because I think that it has benefits not only in the home improvement industry, but potentially in lots of other industries also, because it's like nothing I've ever seen before. It's exciting to me to be able to share what I'm doing and how it's working for us, and that it is such a different approach than any of us have ever used before, that I talk about it quite frequently with colleagues. I mean, we struggle with that ongoing customer nurturing and communication beyond emails. And I was just like, man, this would have made a huge difference. This could fit so many different holes for marketers and how they're building relationships. When we started, our set rate of all leads at that point in time was 9.4%. After 3 months, when I looked at our set rate, it jumped to 16%. So that's a 5.6% increase. The engagement was the no replies was 87%. And after Rachel, the replies to a Rachel message, the no response was 54%. So the reverse for the reply. So we decreased our no reply score from 87% to 54% in 3 months. I think that's significant. So for any of you that are interested in crossing the bridge to AI, I want to tell you that my experience with Hatch was really seamless in this. It is such an easy process. It probably takes 2 to 3 phone conversations and a little bit of work to set up your business profile and get the conversations going so the bot understands. But I would say that you're not doing this alone, that every step of the way is going to be with your account manager and your onboarding specialist, who's really going to hold your hand on the process. And for somebody who was not particularly tech savvy, that made all the difference in the world to me. And the ability of your team to respond to adjustments is fantastic and very quick. I mean, they're right on it. So
I believe we can get $200,000 more a month per inbound. How we looked at that was, what is the total number of unsold estimates a month? We obviously wish that we would have started our outbound strategies and our inside sales much earlier in our business's development than we did.
And so the original pain point was, hey, we need a better speed to lead program and we need to automate a lot of our communication. And the second pain point was the solution we found is really difficult to work with. Tons of use cases. We're using it for pre-appointments, post-appointment reviews, rehash the first use case that attracted us to it. Membership. We're using it heavily for speed to lead. So we're getting ready to use it for invoicing and like automating some of our collection process. And we're excited to be able to start using it for what we're calling like sales enablement. So before we go out to an appointment, we want to be able to send some information. It made our inside sales more impactful. So the way inside sales used to work was we would open up the follow-up tab on Service Titan and we would literally just dial. Like they used to do 50 to 75 calls a day and only 5 people would pick up. But what's happening now is they actually talk to 50 a day. I mean, we basically just sell more. Like there's higher output because instead of just dialing, getting 5 conversations, you're having 50 conversations a day each. I know we've added a couple $1 million. I think I could comfortably say 2, but it roughly adds 200,000 a month. Inside sales does 400,000 a month, and about half of it is because we have more leverage. Another big impact is we've automated a lot of our code reds for service. So if we're short in our 3-day call board, which means we don't have enough appointments booked, we do email, call out, and SMS. And being able to nimbly do SMS is great. So that was a tangible difference for us as far as like speed of results. Like if I have a problem, I want to be able to solve it now, not tomorrow morning at 8. That was a big part of finding an automated communication software is we wanted to unlock lead ags, but we couldn't because our process before this was so clunky that it just didn't work. We wouldn't get any demos from the lead aggregator. We went from like a 10% set to like a 40. So Hatch gave us the ability to effectively do lead ags. You know, 3-day call board is every day matters when you're dealing with leads, and every day matters when you're dealing with like rehab, and not being able to make an impact today sucks. And the solution we found is really difficult to work with. So as far as like peace of mind, like it works well. And if we have an idea for a campaign, it can be running in like 20 minutes versus like 4 weeks. And that's huge.
You build out the business profile, you train the AI, you give it a lot of information, but it pulls from other sources as well. I've seen it answer questions beautifully that we didn't really train it on. And going back a couple of steps, we love those after-hours messages, LSA messages, abandoned calls. When you miss a call, getting a text message out to that person immediately is great. But we were in the same position that you, Chris. We were waiting on the CSR to jump in. I hope they see that. I hope the CSR is awake. And of course, they're not always, especially the weekends.
Right.
And for me to be able to sit, and have a cup of coffee on a Saturday morning and see the AI jump in and just start gathering all the information and taking it all the way through to the customer being satisfied that we're going to take care of them, without worrying about the CSR doing anything. It's been really nice.
Well, just because mainly speed to lead and estimate follow up. I mean, the amount of muscle that it takes to get a human being to follow up with a customer via voicemail, phone, and text on both speed to lead and estimate follow up is just too much work. So to be able to automate that, we were able to close that gap and make sure no matter if a human was making touches to a customer, our automated system was making touches to a customer that made it look like we were on top of it.
What campaigns do you have in Hatch right now?
So every digital lead source we try and put into speed to leads. Our retail, we're in about 28 Home Depots, so that's where WinGen is pulling in. So everything there. Sales and service follow-up are getting Hatch messages. After they do sell, it's an email and a text message from me thanking them for that, letting them know next steps to that. We're also using Hatch as a generator sale appointment confirmation and kind of what to expect on that generator consultation call. We're using that as a one-touch kind of email prior to. If an appointment cancels, we can put them into a campaign and send them a text message. We also do some nurture, some older campaigns, some older estimates from like 6+ months ago. And then we also do some cross-sell customers that have done everything with us but buy a new generator. And then we also do referrals. 45 days after that job code was completed, start talking to a customer about referrals. Hey, thanks for your business. I know we just completed your install. Here's the referral program we're currently offering. And here's the special even that we're going to offer for the coming months. And we also just started doing it for expiring memberships. Each month we dump in those customers and then we send them the Hatch messaging emails and text messages to get them to renew their membership.
Any of those touches across the customer journey, were you doing those before Hatch and manually, or were you not doing them?
The estimate follow-up on service, probably not doing it. And then on sales, it was probably just being done with a phone call and some manual text messages from an ISR. No, we didn't know our response rates. We didn't know what was getting to the customer, if the customer was applying. Like they monitor speed to lead. Like if we send you a lead, how quick are you responding to it? Well, the fact that I have Hatch, I'm responding within 30 seconds. Whether I have people in the office, whether I miss an email, it's text and email and voicemail drop. They're getting it instantaneously. So 100%. Our booking rate is up. Yeah, 100%. I haven't pulled those figures, but it's got to be double or triple the booking rate compared to, just calling and trying to book.
How much time would you say you guys save?
To pull that out of the system, go into the system, pull it out, acknowledge it, enter the information service side, and then make the phone call, then type a text message, and then move on to the next one. I mean, it's probably, I would say, at least 8 minutes of time that's been reduced to 30 seconds. Yeah, so Hatch on follow-up is adding about 10 to 15% in close rate. So of the unsold estimates, we're capturing another 10 to 15%. Our goal is to get up to 25%, but right now 10 to 15%. So if we go out there and meet with 300 people, we sell 100 of them on the spot, that leaves 200. That means my ISR through Hatch is probably capitalizing on 20 to 25 additional sales, utilizing 90% Hatch. We just started doing that recently. We've created about, in the last 4 months, probably captured 3 new installs. So you're probably talking close to just about $100,000 in 3 months on some cross-sell. 90% of what we do here is generator install and generator service. But once we're able to flip that the opposite side and start cross-marketing to our generator customers, what we can do electrically, that's, I think, where we're going to capitalize on some additional revenue and some more appointments there. I mean, just to know that my company or my system is reaching out to my customers and I don't have to rely upon a human being to make sure that I know it's being done. So I know it's out there. It's the message I want it to be. I don't have to worry about a guy typing different messages to different people. Like we're sending the same message to every customer. I'm able to gauge the response rate. If I make a tweak, I'm able to compare an A and B sample. Like, hey, did I do better? Did I do worse? I can test new campaigns and see if I get a high dropout rate and see if it's not working. Just the contact it gives me with a customer. Yeah, and that personalized email too that I know, like I can't send an email to 300 people a month saying thanks for your business or thanks for booking an appointment. I know that everybody, they book an appointment, the next day they book it. The day after, they're going to get an email from me, say, hey, thanks so much for booking it. Here's a couple things to expect. Here's what my guy's going to do in the home. Here's who's coming to your house. Here's a quick thing about some financing we offer, and here's some price conditioning for you. So they're going to get those points that I want them to see. And if they cancel, they cancel. It's one less appointment I'm going to waste my guy going to. But at least I know I got a solid appointment book because I've given them all that information though. Every data point and service time can be pulled into Hatch for some reason or another. So I know there's just several other things. I mean, once you figure out what data point you're looking for and what your call to action is going to be. So if a business did electrical, plumbing, HVAC, generators, you could sit there on a Monday and say, look, our board looks great all week, but Thursday we need plumbing calls. Well, I could, with Hatch, I could create a campaign, pull the customers that I thought would be a good candidate for a plumbing appointment Thursday, send them a special call to action, text, email Monday, Tuesday, and I could probably fill that board, It's more, Hatch is more laser focused versus more just like just the shotgun effect. So, to understand the customer, and what I tell my ISR all the time is, hey, I'm sending this customer 12 different messages over the next 15 days. Part of your job is to understand which one they replied to, like what got their interest going, and then address it that way. So, like if I sent them an email and a text message and an email, and then I get a reply from them, I know what drove their interest. I know what they want. I know what that call to action was. So
Yeah.
I can get them booked or sold on what I think they want. And also to see the history of contact we've had with that customer. I think that's key, because sometimes my ISR will get an email from a customer and they're able to scroll up and just see the entire conversation we've had with this customer from the get-go sometimes. Where a customer calls in and cancels their appointment, we can go right to that text message that we booked it through and kind of see how we booked it and see where we kind of missed and what we need to go back with the customer about and maybe rebook that.
What do you like about working with the Hatch team?
I love that everybody's always attentive. Whatever issue I have, whether it's a campaign or a manual thing, everybody's on it. And if somebody doesn't have the answer for me, doesn't hesitate to find me the answer or get me to the right person that does it. I love that you guys knew you were going to get that Yelp integration going and you got it going. I mean, to get the amount of contact I need with the customer, I'd probably need another 10 employees doing what we're doing, to manually send it. I probably wouldn't be able to get in touch with as many people. Booking rate would slow down. Our speeds to lead would slow down. Milton hit us for 4 or 5 weeks straight. We were inundated with Kohler and Generac leads. I'm talking beyond the amount anybody could ever call, right? So all I did was tell my call center, grab the lead, acknowledge it, manually put it into Hatch, and send the customer a quick email, and we'll see if we get replies. And we did in October, November, I think specifically tied to Hatch, because we were able to adapt to that and beat our competition to book those appointments. I mean, I would go home at night at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I would book 10, 12, 15 appointments myself just through Hatch. And then I knew that they were going to get the email from me saying, hey, thanks for booking. Here's what to expect. Do a little price conditioning, what to expect. And I might get some follow-up, but I was able to book them, I think, faster than anybody else could using that.
Yeah.
The biggest metric that's increased is the chat team metrics. So we started with a team that wasn't necessary. It wasn't in existence before. It was just part of the overall group numbers. Now we've built specific KPIs for that team. So we started off with like 1 demo a week. We were excited about that. Then that moved up to 5. That moved up to 10. And the current goal is now it's 20 demos for that team. There are 2 people with 1 manager. So having a team built, because we're able to do so much with Hatch, I think that's our biggest success story.
Would you be able to do this manually? Would you be able to reach out to customers this fast, this often?
I would say no, especially with the number of lead sources we're using, maybe 30. And that's 30 in 1 brand. We have the kitchen brand, we have the bath brand, we have the flooring brand. So it wouldn't be possible for our team. I've met companies that do a manual setup. I'm not sure how they're dealing with the loss of their leads if they're not following up after the first 10 days.